watched like the beginning of this video, and I can say that this is kind of a shocking one today. So, just keep that in mind. There might be some talk about pedo shit, but let's get into this one, man.
Norton, pause. You're saying that FaZe Temperr is, which that is who he's talking about in the clip.
I'm the furthest thing from what you called me.
Just own up to it.
I slept with one of them. This girl was...
FaZe as a company has been under loads and loads of fire recently. I mean, I've talked about them in the past. Their stocks being down, members leaving, but now it genuinely does seem that this is the end of FaZe Clan. Now, there are many members of FaZe Clan, too many to count, but some of the most prominent members is...
Look, bro, I seriously doubt anything like this is gonna really affect FaZe. It's just one member. I get FaZe Temperr was one of the creators or founders or one of the people that got FaZe started back in like fucking 2011, 12. When they were made before that, but he got things going for them. I know that he plays a significant role in their history. If you guys didn't know that, FaZe Temperr is actually, he was one of the grandfathers of FaZe. So... But like I said, I don't think anything like this could probably affect FaZe just because of how big they are as a company at this point, you know what I mean?
For example, FaZe Rain, one of the founders. FaZe Banks, also one of the founders. But FaZe Rain actually went onto a Twitch stream alluding to why he was leaving the group. Basically saying that he left because he believes that in their group at FaZe, there is an actual P word.
I swear to God, I put myself under the bus instead of them. I wasn't even pushed out. I left. There's a involved too, bro. I don't give a if I get sued. I could give a so I always stand up for what's right. That was like...
Hold on, I need to... Let me check my webcam real quick. Are we good, guys? Are we good? Okay. All right, we're chilling.
That was the final straw, bro.
He didn't say who it was. He just alluded to it and then went completely offline. And unsurprisingly, Twitter had an absolute meltdown trying to find out or accuse
That's how
who
Rain
this
is.
certain member was, because there was basically no clues. And then when Rain was away from his stream...
Look, bro, Norton doesn't play any games. Norton is one of the most genuine FaZe members they have to this day. I think it's a blessing that they still have him around, but whatever happens, happens.
The former CEO of FaZe Clan, Banks, he made a video response on Twitter because, unsurprisingly, if you throw around huge accusations that someone in FaZe Clan is very, very bad, they're usually going to look at the biggest members, and Banks was one of the biggest members.
First thing I'm gonna say in this video is Rain is not talking about me. There, I got it out. But yeah, I'm getting spammed in my mentions right now on Twitter, asking if I'm being accused that I'm being tagged in this clip from FaZe Rain on Fearbuck, talking about there's a FaZe.
So Banks was getting a lot of heat. A lot of people were directly accusing him. So what he did is basically just reported who it actually was, and apparently it was FaZe Temperr.
Call him. He's like, Banks don't play dumb. We talked about
That's
this
so
before.
crazy,
Norton,
man.
Pause. You're saying that...
Because Temperr doesn't even look like that, bro. It's always the people that don't... That you never... Like, it's the people that you least expect, bro. I fucking swear.
Before I'm like, Norton, pause. You're saying that FaZe Temperr is, which that is who he's talking about in the clip, and there's a story and we're gonna get into it.
But what Banks doesn't do is actually make it clear what Temperr did. He basically just kind of name drops him.
Tommy's first initial knee-jerk reaction to all was, what the f are you talking about? Norton, no, this is not what the conversation was like. You're misremembering, you're misinterpreting. Obviously, Rain is coming back, standing firm on the fact that, no, you did say this. I do believe that you did this, whatever. And there's a conversation that happened between Norton and FaZe Temperr years ago. It's obviously a very heavy accusation. I mean, Rain's talking about making videos, Rain's talking about this, and nobody's telling him not to. I mean, obviously, Tommy's like, bro, this isn't true. You're gonna ruin my life. The ramifications, rather, this has on his life it's life-shattering.
Also, I do want to note going forward, because this lore gets very confusing, whenever the word Tommy is mentioned, that is FaZe Temperr, because FaZe Temperr is FaZe's current acting president. Now, this response is pretty interesting because it seems that Banks wanted to basically kind of leave the internet or semi-retire after stepping down from FaZe. But obviously, he had to make an announcement because a lot of people were speculating that he was an actual. And obviously, the best way to get the heat off your back is to name someone else instead of actually trying to defend yourself. So a couple of hours later, FaZe Rain boots up yet another Twitch stream to basically recount what he'd been referring to. He basically accuses Temperr of admitting to a crime that he committed in 2021.
This dude looks me in my eyes and says, bro, I'm not gonna lie, I had with 2 16-year-olds. I'm like, bro, what? Like, how could you tell me that after I'm telling you the 3 rules I have to why I'll never have your back as a friend? On my mother's heartbeat, that's what he said. He looked me in the eyes and he said that.
Now, the details of this story are really, really important because they directly actually...
I'm not gonna lie, I could see him saying that. For some reason, just knowing, like just not knowing him, but just like knowing the type of vibes he gives off in his videos and shit. I could definitely hear that shit coming out of his mouth. I could probably see him doing it as well.
Conflict with what other people have said, because FaZe Rain was originally told that these girls were 16 just a couple of minutes after he airs out Temperr, and then Banks joins Rain's stream to talk because the tweet that he made was made in the hours that Rain was actually offline, and then things definitely got a little bit hostile, to say the least, but the conversation was actually valuable because both of them clearly recount their side of the story.
He looks me in my eyes and says, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I had 2 16-year-olds verbatim. And I said, please tell me you were 17 at latest. He said, nah, bro, it was last year. So that would have been 2022, 2021.
But what you just said.
Okay, so how old is...
I'm not in the car. We agree on that.
I'm pretty sure Temperr is, all these OG members, they're all over 25. These guys are pushing like fucking 30. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of them that are 30. I think Banks is 30. So that would be from 16 to 25. That would be like what, a fucking almost a 10-year age difference, bro. That is massive. That is crazy.
I don't know exactly how this conversation goes.
But I brought it up on the call.
Hold on, please, just let me get this point off.
Now, this Discord call is quite strange.
I mean, he's not even waiting for him to turn 18. He's just fucking bagging them whenever they're 16. I mean, it's fucking, he's literally spawn camping at that point.
Because it reveals one key contradiction between Rain and Banks' stories. Rain continuously maintains that the girls Temperr was involved with was 16. Banks says that they called about a year ago, and Temperr amends this story saying that the girls were actually 17 instead.
And he proceeded to say, if I said I had with 2 16-year-olds, I said it to be cool, verbatim. It was a 17-year-old and the other one watched.
I don't know how that's
and then he started bringing, that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you that's the most cancelable, horrible thing, and I would never have your back as a friend, and you tell me that to act like it's cool?
You know, they continue to yap back and forth for a while.
What I'm saying is he did admit it. And then he said, bro, if it comes out, I'm gonna
Yeah.
That's what he said. He didn't say if this accusation, because if he didn't do it, he'd stand on that 10 toes. You could make up whatever rumor you want about me. I'm not gonna kill myself over a fake rumor.
That's heavy. He did say that. So again, and me and you talked about this privately again.
You called me after, yes.
I didn't say don't do anything. I just, obviously this heavy.
You
This
said
kid
this,
literally
and I remember verbatim what you said too. You said, out of all the years I've known Tommy, he's never said anything like this. He's never said he's
It's
killing
true.
Yes.
Facts or no?
And then he goes on to say that Temperr apparently had issues with like excess partying. It made him believe he was actually capable of a crime against a 16-year-old.
16-year-old girls in a 2 16-year-old, and then he came in and said, I met this girl at a nightclub somewhere in New York, and it turned out that after the fact that she was 17 and her friend was like there, but we didn't hook up, whatever. And he was like, there wasn't, you guys' stories weren't corroborated. That's true or untrue, by the way.
He also consistently maintains that Temperr told him 16, not 17.
He found out later that she was 17, and again, he reiterated the fact that law of consent in New York is 17, and the fact that he met this girl at a nightclub. Which is...
It doesn't matter, bro. Find somebody your fucking age, dude. Find somebody that's over... like 18 at the least. Why are you fucking somebody that's not even considered an adult, bro? Like, you can't really justify that. They are a minor. You are fucking almost 30 and you are fucking a minor. Period. Point blank, bro. You can't justify that at all.
Like, if that's true, that is.
But you see how you're still like softly confirming it by saying he said age of consent is 17. So he's saying he did do it. But then he drops the age by a single year to tell me they're 16. But then to soften the blow, he says, oh, no, she was 17 and an age of consent is 17.
The thing is about the situation, this girl could have been 16, 17. Apparently this happened in 2021, which makes FaZe Temperr anywhere between 27 to...
I was way off. That's almost 20 years. Okay, so he's 32 today. Okay. Yeah, see, like, most of these older FaZe members are pushing 30, like, or above 25. Like, that is not okay at all, bro.
28 years old. Now, while Rain was actually live streaming, which went on for a very long time, Temperr did actually end up making a response, and he deflected and basically said that Rain was trying to attack his livelihood.
The fact that I'm even having to respond to this, that my name is in the same breath as the word, is so sick, twisted, and insane. Brother, I have known you since you were 14 years old. You know the type of person I am. I am not what you called me. All I care about is my family, bro. Like, my biggest concern is my family. Now my kid has to grow up and see this, then see that his father is in the same, that my name is in the same light as what you just called me.
Now, one thing I find really bizarre about this response is, like, at one point he says, bro, I raided you the other day.
And I've been there for you this whole time. You talked about how I raided you the other day, even though...
You know, kind of implying that that would motivate someone to keep all of this under wraps. Now, while Rain was still live, he actually responded to his tweet on stream. He basically made it clear that he didn't have...
That's the thing, bro. The people at this level of fame and success, they'll do anything for fucking extra money. You know what I mean? It's sickening, bro. You make the wrong people fucking... The internet just makes the wrong people famous these days, bro.
Have Temperr's back and thought that this guilt tripping was like really stupid.
But let me rephrase that though, because you don't really know. I mean, you don't know until there's clear evidence. But I don't see why Norden would come and say something like this if it didn't really fucking happen. Because I know Rain is not really that type of person to just falsely fucking accuse somebody of something like that, because they've been a group for years, bro. I mean, these guys grew up together, they spent their 20s together, all that. Like, you're not just gonna sit there and fucking make false, you know what I mean, accusations against somebody you've known since your childhood. It just doesn't work like that. Life does not work like that.
Stupid.
First brought this up a year ago, and I believe that you brought it up just for money purposes, that you wanted money out of FaZe. Like, you stated that a year ago.
And he looks guilty as fuck, bro. He looks so guilty. He looks so guilty. You could just look, you could see it between the two eyes that he just, like, you could see this shit. Like, you could see the tension between when they're talking about this shit. I mean, just watch.
The conversation with me.
Bro, you see how they try, bro?
You stated
it is in comedy how they try to mix things like that in to try to make it seem like, oh, well, his intentions weren't there. I did it, but his intentions were there when that's not true. What do I gain out of this, bro? That's what I'm saying. It's sick. Just own up to it. Trying to say I blackmailed, then I would have blackmailed, buddy. You said you were gonna kill yourself if this came out, bro. And then you're over here lying about it. It's insane, bro.
And saying that Temperr's emotional accusations against Rain as some sort of ploy for cash felt very desperate and baseless. At this point, it does seem like a pretty closed case. Temperr was going to turn the other cheek and act like nothing happened. Banks and Rain both had their own stories, and they were largely in agreement that Temperr definitely admitted to being intimate with at least one 17-year-old girl and being in the presence of another one of the same age. But then a few hours later, Temperr made yet another response. This is why this drama has been so difficult to...
Yeah, period, bro. Just, it's simple as this. Temperr fucked a minor when he was 25. Okay, it's simple as that.
Follow, because every 5 minutes someone puts out a completely new response that seems to invalidate previous things that have been said. Now, before his response came out, people did the thing that they always do and digged into someone's history. Like, for example, finding these old tweets of him from like 2012. Now, I do want to say, to be fair, that tweet is very obviously a joke, a really unfunny. Now, I do want to say,
mind your business.
now,
Let's
before
see
his
it.
response came out, people did the thing that they always do and digged into someone's history. Like, for example, finding these.
This was 2012. Kid, you hang out with 16-year-old girls. Stop acting like a hard ass. You blah 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 blah. Mind your own business. What if I like being a peta? This is 2:18 p.m. 6:30. Fucking June the 30th of 2012. So this is a while ago, bro. This doesn't make any sense, because he's saying that he hung out with these chicks fucking in 2021, but this timestamp, I don't know. I don't fucking know. This shit doesn't make any sense to me.
Old tweets of him from like 2012. Now, I do want to say, to be fair, that tweet is very obviously a joke, a really unfunny joke, but it is still a joke. And again, it's from 2012. That is over 10 years old of a tweet. But at the same time, obviously, it doesn't invalidate anything that he's being accused with, especially with sleeping around with underage people. So after the initial response, Temperr actually posted another tweet, basically recounting his own story of how this happened. Now, the first thing that Temperr does admit in the video is he definitely slept with a 17-year-old.
I go to this club that's 21 plus. We're all and I end up going back with these girls to my hotel room. I slept with one of them, and I found out after that this girl was 17.
And then he makes it a point that it's the age of consent in New York.
And that's the age of consent in New York.
Basically, the point he was trying to make is he
it's
went into
completely irrelevant, but whenever he's fucking talking, it sounds like sandbags just moving because of the way that Mike mutes his fucking shit whenever he's not talking.
That this girl was 17.
So annoying.
And then he makes it a point that it's the age of consent in New York.
And that's the age of consent in New York.
Basically, the point he was trying to make is he went into a club that was apparently 21 and over. This girl, I'm not sure how she got inside. She might have used like a fake ID or something like that because she was 17. And from his recollection, he wasn't aware of these girls' ages until the day
This is
after.
such a
So all of this
stretch,
happened
though,
while
bro.
Rain was still live. And this is when the second response was tweeted. And he basically contrasted it with his own point of view. And again, even after Temperr's response, he still maintains that what Temperr said to him is this girl was 16. And he also notes that this detail of not knowing that they were under 18 didn't come up in his initial confrontation with Temperr when he found out.
That this girl was 17.
Then why wouldn't you tell me that, bro? You never told me you didn't know. You know, if that was the case, I would have your back to that, bro. You know that. You know that if you said like, bro, I did that, but I didn't know. They told me they were 21. They told me they were 22. I had no idea.
Or this phone call that apparently happened in 2025 where Temperr recounted his story.
He didn't even try to pull that card.
Like, listen, I'm glad he's taking like admitting it, but I just don't believe he knew.
This man just flat out fucking said you fucked him, bro. He's flexing it to him behind the cameras.
After, because he would have said that. He had two opportunities to say that when he told me first off and when we had that call. He didn't say it on the call. He didn't say it in the original part. He would have said it again and be like, bro, but I didn't know. Like, if he kept pushing that point, I didn't know, you know, I wouldn't do that.
I'm being a better
I just feel like he's saying it now because he knows it kind of gets him out of it. And I'm just being real. Like, that's just what it feels like, because he would have said it.
So again, this entire situation is just very, very bizarre, but you can really tell that this is probably the final nail in the coffin for FaZe Clan. Rain claims that Temperr initially claimed that he had a with two 16-year-old girls. Meanwhile, Banks claims that Temperr slept with a girl who only just met New York's age of consent laws, while the other one apparently watched. Now, Temperr's story does cooperate with Banks' perspective, but also...
But the crazy thing is, though, you're still getting a thrill out of fucking somebody. You're sucking and fucking somebody that's fucking barely over the age of consent, bro. I mean, you shouldn't be attracted to that, to be honest with you.
adds that he didn't know the girl's age until the next morning when he was sober, and also pontificates his guilt regarding the entire scenario. It's a very confusing story. You've basically got 3 main players, and they're all giving slightly different details on what actually happened. I'm not sure what will happen next, where this will go. I did want to treat it a bit more seriously, but like genuinely, I think FaZe Clan has been on its last legs for quite a while, and it really does seem that this is the final nail in the coffin.
I don't think so. I think it might be the fucking nail in the coffin for Temperr, but I don't think it would be the final nail in the coffin for FaZe Clan as a collective. Pyro Live, go subscribe. Watch his shit, bro. Watch my shit. Like my videos. Subscribe. It helps me out. I want to buy a box of fucking donuts tomorrow. Please. Give me food.